Are you ready, warrior? Here we are once again on a Tuesday afternoon, this 14th day of January. We at the Warriors are doing 31 days of advocacy because January is National Human Trafficking Awareness and Prevention Month. So let's see, I see Edie is here already. Welcome, Edie. Thank you for always reminding everybody to hit the like button because once I start talking, I think, as you well know, I just kind of lose track sometimes and forget about these things. And I want to say something about when I ask you to subscribe. I had a couple of comments come my way, and here's the thing: subscribing to our channel is free, free, free. And when I say to you, please check that you are subscribed, again, it's free. I'm going to keep saying that, is because so many people keep saying they are unsubscribed once they subscribe. So I'm simply asking you to make sure you are subscribed. And it does not cost money. Now, there's also an option to be a member, which I would love for $2.99 a month, but nobody's forcing you to do anything like that. So when I say subscribe, I'm not asking you to spend money. I'm asking you to give us that subscription free because I have no shame as my birthday's coming up in a couple of days. And I really want to hit 10,000 subscribers. And we're almost there. We're in the high 9,000s. And I want that 10,000 because puts us into a new algorithm, a new highway, a new lane of getting these videos out there, getting interviews with experts and survivors and people doing really good work out there, getting this out there so people can watch. If they're not watching live, they can watch later on if they're at work. So it's really just about building community, which is our hashtag at the Warriors, community creates change. So that's all I'm asking you to do. So I want to thank everybody right on top for joining us and taking the time. There is so much to discuss. How can we not discuss California? You know, wherever there's disaster and tragedy, there's also a disruption of anti-trafficking efforts. And also wherever there's chaos, these predators, as witness, I just had some news on in the background that these looters are coming full force. I don't think the media is talking about it a lot, but here's what I'm hearing also. These looters are coming in full force into these nice areas burned down because apparently, I don't know how, everything's in ruins. They're still sifting through and looking for things. And I guess if a house is still standing, you know, that odd house here and there, that's ripe for the picking. There's so much in there. So I've heard that they've detained close to 100 people, arrested 38 or 39. But can you imagine, on top of all this tragedy, what are the morals of to go into an area like this? I can't even fathom it. And then steal from people. The effects have not even been felt yet because we will have such a mental health crisis coming from this. More trafficking because those exploiters will get right in there. If it's not today, they're going to be there next week as people become more, they wake up to this horror. Where am I going to live? Where are the kids going to go to school? Maybe there's foster and group homes in this area, shelters. Where are those people going? This is when these criminals move right in. So we really have a lot of work cut out for us. We're all Americans. So I'm in New York State and New York City. We all have to keep an eye on this and do whatever we can. And even if we just spread information online about resources, that is good enough. We're also at the Warriors trying to reunite pets. We're doing it online with their owners because we know animals, pets, dogs, cats, your pets, healing, and kids can relate to that. I can't imagine the horror. So keep all of this in mind as we move along, that this is what we need to do. You know, I want to talk about something. I did a poll the other day on the Warriors, and it was about the TikTok ban. Now, I want to make something clear, which really disturbs me. TikTok, this whole Supreme Court hearing we just had last Friday is really about it is owned by a Chinese company, and that is a national security threat, right? My concern is, and I'm sure this will happen, I don't know, I'm not a lawyer, but I think this will happen, and they want TikTok to divest from ByteDance, the parent company, Chinese, and be bought by an American company is what it looks like. And I'm sure that's going to happen. I'm sure the people are lined up to buy TikTok, being that it's one of the top 3 apps, platforms that kids use, that all people use, especially our precious kids. And those, remember, are the eyeballs and getting kids used to early all this addiction online and buying things and comparisons. But we'll leave that for a minute. Here's my fear. Any company, American, can come in and buy it. But will they address what I just told you about? Sure, it will be owned by an American company, perhaps. But are they going to address those dangerous algorithms that are feeding kids very harmful information? Everything from bullying, eating disorders, and other kinds of things, even worse. Will it cure a very well documented addiction that our youth have to the internet? Will it address any of those things? Because I don't hear anything about that. And I've asked a couple of people, what I would consider experts, and their answer pretty much is, gee, I don't know. Wouldn't it be great? Because again, we at the Warriors do not believe in banning. We believe in effectively figuring out how to hold big tech accountable. But wouldn't it be great if somehow we could figure out, if you're going to buy TikTok, which millions upon millions, tens of millions of kids are on, if they would have a clause that you must address these dangers to kids and all people, actually. And I haven't heard any talk about that at all. So that's what I'm thinking about. We'll keep an eye on this. But, I'm of the great belief that national security threat, where has everybody been since TikTok came on board? And also, another question I asked just yesterday of somebody is, I usually don't say this, but why can't we be like China? What would be wrong with that? Again, people scream and cry out privacy, or they scream out First Amendment. Somebody's always screaming about something, right? But why can't we just limit the time for our kids? If we have all these studies and we have all these people speaking out and all these experts and congressional hearings, which we've had in the past, why can't we then limit our children to, 40 minutes a day like China? Maybe we make it an hour. I don't know. We come together and we ask the parents and the caretakers. We've had plenty of discussions, well, there's never enough studies, but we've had different studies, lots of stats, lots of people talking about this. Why can't we have it? So it is more educational materials, with the argument being it will be shielding, how should I put this? I'm always weary of actually algorithms on YouTube. It will, kids who need help, or kids identifying or not identifying with gender, seeking out information. It will not allow them to get to information. It's those kind of concerns. And I always feel like that's, 10 people in the room screaming very loudly against millions not screaming loud enough. And that is why we ask you, keep an eye on this TikTok. If we ask you to take action and sign your name and zip code to something, please do that, because it's really not going to matter. First of all, TikTok's been around for a long time. It already has everybody's information. So selling it to an American company, too little, too late. And again, will that American company deal with these issues I'm sharing with you? So when everybody here is banning TikTok, they're thinking, oh, okay, or shutting down TikTok, it's going away. It's about, our freedoms, when it's really not about that. Congress is yelling about, it's a national security threat. And only fairly recently, they told Congress, the members, you cannot be using TikTok. Too late. I've seen so many members of Congress on TikTok in the past. So what are we doing there? I had a very interesting conversation today, discussion, and the interview will be up tomorrow, that Sherry Lopez. And I want to tell you about this. And again, that interview is going up tomorrow morning. But I'm so excited. I was so excited to speak with Sherry today. She's in Arizona. She's a human trafficking survivor. Her organization is called Pearl at the Mailbox. Why I wanted to talk to Sherry, I met her last July in Washington, D.C. at a Senate roundtable. And actually her assistant came up to me and said, you really need to meet Sherry. You really need to meet Sherry, fellow warrior. And we chatted, we spoke. Sherry Lopez is the real deal. Remember, I'm not a victim of human trafficking. I have not been exploited. I had a wonderful childhood. I will shout that. I'm very lucky, from the highest rooftops, beautiful home, great parents, great siblings, good schools. grew up in Jersey, came to New York a lot, saw shows, movies. I feel so lucky now as this adult, as I'm facing my big birthday in a few days. And there's so much predation and so many people, even, my age, sharing their stories with me and coming forward. I didn't know this kind of thing really existed. Yes, I knew it existed, but it was not any part of my world. It is so prevalent. It has happened to so many people. And I am sick and tired in 2025 that it's escalating with all the technology. It's growing. I'm tired of people talking about it's just so bad. We have to change things. Oh, no kidding. Let's have the intervention. Let's have the solutions. Let's have open and honest communication. Because I get the same answer every time. I said, Sherry, why are we here? And Sherry is certainly, she's younger than I am. And I don't ask her age. I'm not going there. But, she went through this grooming process, which is what I really want to talk about today, because that word is thrown around a lot. Trafficking's thrown around and grooming. And I think a key to getting in there and really stemming all of this slavery, right? Because that's what we're calling it, enslavement, is, let's be honest, we're not going to stop it. It's too big. It's making too much money. But we can call the attention, intervention, educate so we don't have new victims, and get you on board to say, this is ridiculous, this is horrifying, enough, we're not having any of it here in the United States of America, right? Before I continue this story, though, I want to say hello to, there's Aaron. Hello, warriors. Hello, Aaron. Thanks for joining us. Hemorrhoid Hitman. Interesting name. Lynn is great. She walks the talk. Much respect from a father of 5. Thank you, HH. I'm going to call you that, okay? LJ Jackson is here. Bless all who help the children. Thank you. LJ, Jersey girl here, transplanted to Florida Panhandle. Well, welcome. Once a Jersey girl, you never really get rid of that. That's what I say. Here's what I want to say. Grooming. You hear the word a lot. It's thrown around, as is trafficking. Now, remember, trafficking now we're calling slavery. It is the enslavement. We can all understand that. Can you imagine? We have more of this going on today in the United States than any other time in history. Totally unacceptable. Okay? Now, grooming. What is grooming? See, this is the sneaky one. The very sneaky one that I don't think the public understands, and we have to do a better job of educating everybody about. Sherry points out a reason I was really excited to talk with Sherry. I'm very careful with survivors. I don't think, how can I put this? Let me use my showbiz background. I don't like the dog and pony show I've seen in DC. I've seen it up in our state capital, Albany, around the country. Parade out the survivors so everybody can stare at them, glee at them, be titillated by them, whatever it is, because I've watched, because I'm a great watcher of an audience. I'm always looking at things as a focus group so I can get information for myself or see how people are reacting. And I've seen it, and it's a very weird thing to kind of, this is me talking now, parade survivors around. Now, unless they want to come forward and that I feel they are really strong enough, they want to speak out, right? Because you have to realize all of this horror is a lifelong trauma. It does not go away with, I got saved, which is why I resent all these people going around saying, we're jumping out of a helicopter, we saved a child. You don't save anybody, okay? This is a lifelong mission of trauma, of healing, and the services are not there in, I'm going to keep saying it, our United States of America. Why is that? How can we have all these monies going to other countries and we're not taking care of our own? I mean, that question we've all been asking about our vets and about our elderly and about families who have no health insurance. So that's nothing new. But all of those things I just told you, a lack of services leads to an increase in this trafficking, in this grooming, which is a further burden. Just follow me on this one. When vulnerable people are kids, you're vulnerable, will lead to perhaps this exploitation. When a child is hungry and on their own for 24 hours, no parent in the house. Maybe they do have a parent who works 2 jobs, single mom, single dad. They're lonely, so they go online. They use their phone as their friend. They get exploited. We have reports. Remember, the numbers are always higher. Whatever they're telling us, the numbers are never high. We can't keep up with all of this. It's 1 in 4 children. Used to be 1 in 5. Then it was 1.44. I don't know where that came from. So I'm going to say 1 in 4, 25% of children 8 to 18 are approached online with inappropriate dialogue, images. So that's 25%. Let's just round it off. And of that 25%, we heard that 42%, let's just say 40% will attempt to go out in real time and meet that stranger. Now, think about that. Again, we're going to round off. That's almost half. Half the kids approached online by a stranger, they're going to go out and try to meet them in real time. What is wrong with that? Everything is wrong with that. Why aren't we talking about this 24/7, 365? Unacceptable. But the other thing is, and this is not judging parents and caretakers and family members, you have to be aware of it and you have to make the effort. And I know I always tell you, everybody's overwhelmed, everybody's busy. This cannot go on. This will not go on. Again, we're not stopping it. I want to be very realistic here. Ending human trafficking. We're not ending it. It's the biggest criminal enterprise going on in the world. Further, this one you should really not get me started with, is these open borders, which have just created a tremendous vacuum of our own people, of our children, and of these unaccompanied minors, these illegal children who by no fault, trying to get here for a better life. You would come and I would come too. If I heard, I could make more money or I could get some food and a house. That's just the reality. But the criminals cash in. The cartels have been allowed to run that border. The cartel, they're so well organized and it's been allowed to happen. Well, in a couple of days, I believe an end is near. I mean, just the other day, you were never allowed to really speak about tunnels. I've never really spoken about tunnels underground, about anything with children in tunnels. I just haven't. Again, I'm always I'm not a lawyer, but I'm based on truth and facts. I have to see it with my own eyes. I hear so many things, but does that mean I have proof? No, I have some great sources and I believe what they tell me. But before I really discuss something, I have to see it with my own eyes. Well, lo and behold, the other day, Homeland Security unearthed a tunnel all the way from Mexico into El Paso, Texas. I mean, do you know how many miles that is? This tunnel, I believe, was 6 feet tall, 4 feet wide, was equipped with electricity. And where did my mind go? How many children, vulnerable people, were forced through there over the last 4 years? Could be millions. We don't know. And that story, of course, is hushed up, didn't get really any play. So it's interesting. It's interesting. These things you were not allowed to talk about all kind of have come true. I'm talking about this tunnel right now because this is put out there by Homeland Security. We found it. We shut it down. That's it. No other information about it. But isn't this crazy? I'm sure many people must have known about that and could have been shut down earlier. And why wasn't it? Think about the scared kids. But let's focus on what I really want to talk about today is this grooming. Grooming. Sherry Lopez, I told you I did the interview. Again, it will be up tomorrow on the Warriors channel. She said she had 2 parents. She grew up in a lovely, regular home. She had 2 sisters. Everything was nice. And this is the point I want to drive home because predators, traffickers, pimps, obviously always cash in on our most vulnerable. That's easy pickings, right? But they also, and this is what we want everybody to know, they also cash in on everybody. Nobody is exempt. Sherry believes that she was a middle child and she was talking about her older sister excelled and her younger sister had some learning disabilities. So a lot of the parents' focus was on the oldest one who was winning medals and great grades and things of that nature, outgoing, and then the younger one who needed a lot of care. And then Sherry was always just the good girl, spent a lot of time in her room alone and was quiet. And in high school, and I want you to listen to this because this is very different from everything. I want to put a face on a child enslaved in America because even organizations and postings, January is, and we're in January, Human Trafficking Awareness and Prevention Month, and a lot of the visuals are these children in chains, kids barefoot sitting against a chain link fence, kids that look like they're from other countries. I want to put the American face of a Sherry Lopez when she was a teenage girl, blonde, cute, she's there. Now, the other faces we've got, and this is just a stat, in New York State where I am, most of the cases of trafficked girls are Black. That's the study of all the girls, 8 to 18, 9 to 18. It's over 62%. When they say over 62%, and I always ask, again, I'm kind of met with just strange looks. Does that mean 68%? Does that mean 70%? I don't know, but okay, we'll go with the 62%. Those are just the facts. But Sherry Lopez is white, and she was blonde as a teenager and went to school. And her boyfriend in high school was a football player. Regular, good girl, going to school, doing her homework. Parents didn't have to worry about her. She said they actually never really spoke to her much because they didn't have to worry about her at all. And the boyfriend's father, because she started hanging out at the boyfriend's house or with the boyfriend, and the father gave her a lot of attention. And not even, according to Sherry, inappropriate, just friendly, nice. And she wasn't getting that at home. And then she always imagined, the boyfriend, I never had a brother. I always wanted a brother. Oh, is this what men are like? Boys are like. So she liked hanging out with them. And they were very nice to her for a very long time. And this is the grooming process. They are very patient people. They will be. And as Sherry revealed things to her boyfriend, unbeknownst to her, intimate things about herself, or she's mad at her mom, whatever it was, sisters are getting all the attention. And she didn't outwardly do that, but she thought this was her boyfriend, right? A lot of girls do that. The boyfriend was repeating, can you imagine this? Repeating everything to the father, arming the father with ammunition. And it went on for a long time. She just thought these were nice people. This is her boyfriend, going to school. She's with a football player. Go to their house sometimes. Boom. When they feel like this person, this teen, this child, when they have enough ammunition, I'm going to use that word, they move in on them. And it starts with, usually, because I hear this story a lot, we're going to go to a party. Who wouldn't go to a party with their boyfriend, right? And it was no crazy stuff with the boyfriend. It was just, my boyfriend in high school. So it wasn't even in these crazy parties. And then Sherry, for the first time, gets to a party. Okay. Long story short, I'm going to cut out some parts because I really want you to listen to the interview when I put it up tomorrow. Usually I don't tell you about something until I have it there so you can look at it. But this is so important to me, this grooming process of a seemingly normal family, great neighborhoods, good schools, football player boyfriend. And when she tried to pull away various times from this, she was scared, right? Because the grooming process is really psychological. They beat you down psychologically. You don't even realize it. They have psychological control. It's really like mind control, actually. She was told we recorded things. So now we have these videos. And this was a while ago. And so now this is really prevalent. Now, in 2024, 25, we are going to take these videos and show your parents. And we're going to show everybody. And you're going to be in so much trouble. In the meantime, every time she threatened, she got a part-time job. In the summertime, she's working. She said, I can't come to that party this weekend because I have to work. They knew everything about her. And they would slash her parents' tires. They would throw eggs at the house. Her parents didn't know what was going on. But all during this process, this is what I want everybody to listen to right now. Listen up. Because I was like, well, where were your two sisters? Did they know anything? See anything? Where were your parents? How did this go on? How many parties, you know? And she said, my parents never questioned anything because I was the good girl. And I would say, I'm going to my friend's house for the weekend, across the way. And they let me go. And I said, well, did they ever come over and check on you? Did they ever call those parents and check in? She said, no. So I want to say to everybody, and you know what? Your teenagers might not like this. Certainly with the younger ones, well, I feel like sleepovers are just no in my book with the work we do, and no, no, no. But that being said, I can't tell you what to do if somebody has a sleepover birthday party and you want your 8-year-old daughter to go. But I will say, you better maybe surprise visit. You better call that mother and make sure that party is really a party, and especially of the older kids. We have to really keep an eye on everybody. I'm sorry. I'm tired of people saying, I don't want to get involved. I'm sitting here telling you such easy things because there are things I could tell you I can't say because I burst out crying or I get sick to my stomach. I'm telling you this basic low-hanging fruit. If your 15-year-old says, I'm going, Saturday night to stay over Susie's house, check with the parents. Make a surprise visit. You're dropping over with some snacks. However you want to do it. We cannot just have this open society environment, letting the kids do what they want, even if you think you have the greatest child, and you might, in the world, straight A student, you better be there. Because this Sherry Lopez story is so important because she went home to her own bed. She was a good student, except for the weekends when mom and dad never questioned her. I'm going over to Sandy's house. And I said, well, when you came home, like after a night or two, did they ask you anything? Like, how did it go? She said, they never asked me anything because they just trusted me. And that's what's wrong, right? So we really have to do more, be more vigilant about all of this. And again, this was a while ago. How much have we learned? We've learned a lot in the last, I'm going to say 5 years about all of this. If anything good came out of that COVID period, I said that word that does make me sick, is that a lot of this opened up. We saw a lot of what was going on, on the internet, on the computer, what the kids were looking at, what was popping up, this porn and all this government issued Chromebooks, from schools. And I can't tell you the number of parents who said, I walked out of the room, came back, and there's porn on my 5-year-old's computer, my 10-year-old's computer. So we know now. So what are we going to do? Because we know now these things go on. We're going to start taking action. Let me just check what's going on here. Thank you, Edie, for reminding everybody to hit that like button. Yeah, I don't know what your computers say. Mine says I have 1 like. That's absolutely impossible. That can't be. If you're here, you got to like this. But I don't know. This computer lags. It lags a little bit. HH says, the true measure of any society can be found in how it treats its most vulnerable members. Exactly, HH. I have to say, as this adult woman in my 60s, I consider myself smart, worldly, educated. I am shocked. I got to say, I am shocked at people do these things and that it's escalating and that our government, our society, our everything has allowed it. I mean, even just hearing going back to these looters after these massive bombs went off, this destruction in California, there's nothing there. I couldn't even imagine. I can't even think about it. For a child, forget the parents, or a child, and to now start seeing some of these human stories coming forth of the people saying, at least we're alive, we have our family, just material possessions, but that's your life, your treasures, your normalcy, your day-to-day, just gone. And we have people going in there to steal from it and take what they can find in the ashes, or for those houses that remain standing. It just, I really just can't believe people act like this, but they do. Laura says she's listening and taking notes. Thank you, Laura. Everybody needs to just listen. Listening is a lost art. Listening is one of the most important things. Listen to your child. Listen to your partner. Listen to your friend. I sometimes talk to people. I can tell they're not listening to me. It's in one ear, out the other. I'm a good listener. I listen to people. It goes a long way. We have to be there, especially for our loved ones. They have to know. Look at the story I just told you about Sherry. And I'm not blaming her parents. Don't take it like that. She's telling me this story. I don't know her parents. This is her version. Um, I always support a survivor, believe a survivor. And the most important part of Sherry's story is because I'm like, how did you get away from all of this? She left when she's 18. She's on her own as a legal adult, and she was trafficked all around. She said she probably has been in all 50 states, and it was a very kind of high-end operation. But at the last place she was at, she had one privilege because she said there were bodyguards. Can you imagine this? And her one privilege was she was allowed to walk outside to the mailbox every day and get the mail. That was it. She got a little air. She got the mail at the end of the driveway. And there were a bunch of girls / young women in this house. And she said this neighbor always seemed to come out, older woman, and her name was Pearl. And Pearl would just say, hi, how you doing? And she'd eventually say, remember, when you're under this mind control, everything's great, everything's fine, nothing's wrong. The woman would say to her eventually, do you need help? What's going on? And Sherry would always say, no, I'm fine, I'm good. This went on for a very long time. And Sherry finally said one day, it occurred to her, if she didn't, things were physically done to her by this trafficker. If she didn't leave now, she really thought that would be the end of her life. So the next time she went to the mailbox and Pearl came over, she just walked away with Pearl. Now you might say, why didn't Pearl call the police, 911? I don't know the particulars. But remember, Sherry at this point was over 18. So unless she wanted to make a report, unless she was going to stick by the story, because many of these victims don't know they're trafficked. They deny they're trafficked. They're in fear for their lives. They're psychologically all screwed up. But she got away, is the bottom line. And she has such fortitude and strength. So I've never been trafficked. So if Sherry wants to speak out, she wrote a book about it. She named her nonprofit Pearl at the Mailbox.org. She's a wealth of knowledge. So we will partner together now. And a Pearl's home will be built. Sherry's in Arizona. We don't have homes to put people in. We don't have places. Let me give you an example. If a girl is 17, let's go even younger. A girl is 14. We get her out of a situation. She's taken out of a situation. There's a lot of paperwork that has to be done in order to get her to a safe space, for the most part. Lots of states, each state is different. For instance, Arizona, Sherry was pointing out, what do? They will put a teen in a detention center because they have nowhere to put them. What happens in these detention centers? For the most part, further victimized, traumatized, can lead to additional trafficking, whatever. That's unacceptable. We need to have houses, truly safe spaces. Every single person tells me we don't have the resources. Why isn't our government at least building, participating, or giving to organizations that know what they're doing, the funds to do it and run it? Again, because we're giving billions to all these other countries, but not our own, especially our children, our future adults, our future leaders. I mean, I'm scared, and you should be too. The only hope I have is things are changing. New administration, people willing to listen, people saying it's unacceptable, people opening the doors. We'll be spending a lot more time in Washington, putting forth these ideas, brainstorming. It's unacceptable. Even if you just look up what is spent and has been our entire lives on the drug trade, which, there's never a war won on the drugs, right? Let's just say what it is. Who knows what it is? Hundreds of billions of dollars. And you compare it to the monies spent on trafficking, which is a couple of $1 million out of the government per year. when you come right down to it. I mean, why is this? So we're very hopeful. The pendulum is swinging back. We have people like Sherry Lopez building Pearl's House, which will take these teen girls, and it could be boys too. Boys we don't talk about a lot in the trafficking. Um, that's happening too. It is mostly girls, right? Ages are getting younger and younger, but we got to take care of our boys too, the forgotten ones. We need that safe house, a legitimate, not trying to have a friend's house, which is done a lot, keep them for a few days until we can get them to the appropriate place. Like we need better systems. I talk about that wheel with a lot of spokes. We need that wheel, and every spoke works immediately in helping a child or helping any person get out of this, because you only have seconds and minutes to spare when all of this is going down. So let's see. Angelica says, yes, there are gangster type moms who may not molest but are extremely jealous of their friends, of their daughters, and are dangerous and will compromise the friend. Be careful and vigilant. Just be vigilant. Ask questions. You have every right. You're the parent. Again, that reminds me, you buy these devices for the kids. So why aren't you asking the questions? Why aren't you learning what's going on in them? Why aren't you, parents who say, well, I don't want to invade my 12-year-old's privacy. Darn, I almost cursed. Darn right. You should be invading their privacy, because I'm telling you, what's on there is beyond anything that we're going to clean up today or tomorrow. But if we come together and honor our warriors hashtag, which is community creates change, we will indeed make a difference starting now in 2025. Joseph is here. Hard to help anyone unless they are ready to let you. That is true. But again, kids, minors, don't even know what they want. So we have to be a little more forceful with them. We are the adults and take them under our wings and have the appropriate resources and services for them. As far as adults, I agree with you. Normally somebody who is an adult who is taken out of trafficking or says they're leaving or we've gotten out, or normally, at least in New York, they return 7 or 8 times before they're officially out. Remember, mind control. It's the only life they know, the only way they know how to make money. They're conditioned. And bear in mind, let me leave you with this thought. Most of these people enslaved never see a dime. They get a roof over their head and maybe a hamburger, and they don't see any of this. The average trafficker, and these figures vary, from just say a girl from the suburbs can make $125,000 to $150,000 a year. If you have 5 girls, think about that. It is driven by money, money, money. That is the reason for all of this. And there are so many more people complicit in this whole enslavement, slavery. But we're going to get to the bottom as much as we can. We're going to provide you with resources. So please always follow linswarriors.org. I want to thank all of you for being interested in this, for taking the time to join me today. Please remain vigilant. Please, anybody you can talk to appropriately, right? Because people are always scared or they can't handle it, whatever. Please share the resources. And remember one thing. If we help at the Warriors, one person or one child a day, then we have done our jobs. So with that note, go out, finish your days or evening, wherever you may be. Thanks for joining me, and we will speak again soon. I'm going to be making the live shows at 3 p.m. So we'll see if that works. Maybe they're better later at night. If you want to write to me and give me your thoughts on all that, Lynn at linswarriors.org, we can figure out. But we want to be able to get people here and hear the information. So go out, have a good day. And remember, each and every day when you wake up, what do I always tell you? Go out and be a warrior. Let's speak again soon. Thank you.